Hello everyone, welcome to Méribel. The 2014-15 season comes to a conclusion over the next couple of hours. It's the final giant slalom of the season, the final race of the season. Women in action here on the Roc de Fer piste, finishing right in the centre of Méribel at the showdown. Fantastic race piste, and one that will certainly allow the best in the world to show all of their skills. I'm Ian Finley, bringing you all the action in these two runs here at World Cup finals. Looking forward to covering this one, and what a race we've got in store. After a season that started back in October, high up on the glaciers in Solden, the race for the overall Crystal Globe has come right down to this. Just 18 points separate Tina Matze, who leads the standings, Anna Fenninger in second. Quite simply, whoever wins this race is going to take that overall globe. So there's your start list for the first run. 23 women in action. So everyone's getting a second run today at World Cup finals. Lindsey Vonn will be the last to go on the first run. Well, weather conditions far from ideal today as Tina Matze just continues her warm-up. There's been a little bit of snow overnight. It's not super cold today, but fog in the middle of the piste and precipitation in the air as well. It's one of those spring days where it's not that cold, but you can feel a little chilly at times. The occasional wind blowing through, and some fresh snow on the roofs and on the trees here. This beautiful resort in France in the Trois Valley, one of the largest connected ski area in the world. And the first athlete, Frederica Brignone, just a couple of moments away from starting off this first run. We're at a start altitude of 1,830 meters, finishing down in the village at 1,432, 1,432 meters. Thomas of Sweden set the first run, and Brignone is ready to kick off Giant Slalom number 7 of the 2014-15 season. Last race at these 2014-15 World Cup finals here in Méribel. That's not the TV director, just a fan enjoying the action. Great crowd made their way to the huge, rather large plateau, flat area just the edge of Méribel Centre. Many of the nations, the athletes from around the world have all got support in the finish area. And Brignone gets the first beep, so we're just a few moments away from this race getting started. See the fog in the background. Going to make life a little tricky if it gets a little thicker. Hopefully it'll hold off, or a light wind will blow it away. So Brignone kicks off World Cup finals, the 24-year-old Italian, bit of a GS specialist, 7 podiums in her career, all of them come in giant slalom. And our first chance to have a look at this Roc de Fer giant slalom piste. Here you go into the fog. There's trees either side of the racetrack, and will help just a little bit of definition. These side hills that threw the racers off balance, but Brignone making a good fist of it so far. It's not the steepest of hill in places. It's quite a relentless hill. I've skied it myself many times, and it doesn't give you any chance to catch your breath. You can hear the snow's icy underfoot. Brignone a little late in the line there, that could cost her. And time checks, of course. Brignone, the first athlete on course. Now out of the fog. Finish line just a few gates away here. It's very turny towards the bottom, and on this long course that might impact things on the first run. Brignone Looks a little tired, but she dives for the line. 1:14.08. Brignone sets the benchmark time for the rest of the field. Heavy on the inside ski, that outside ski, the right leg bouncing around, not getting that purchase on the snow. Schifrin up next, bit 2. The 20-year-old from Veith, 6 wins this season. Got her first giant slalom win as well. Slalom specialist starting to step it up in the longer format. 0.17 off the pace on the opening split. Schifrin now finding that form on the giant slalom skis. Such a smooth skier, but what a competitor she's proving to be. Hasn't lost any more time. Shaved 1,000 off the deficit. Now Schifrin. You can start to see the finish line well below her at this stage. Still a lot of skiing to go. This is where it gets a little turny. 0.42 off the pace here. She's lost a bit in the midsection. Doesn't want to go too much further back from this. What can Schifrin do? That looks a little cleaner than Brignone. And now Schifrin finds the tuck and dives for the line. Stops the clock. 1:14.48. 0.4 off the pace of Brignone. So didn't lose any more time before on the last split. So Fenninger on course sits in second in the standings. She was the overall champ in 2014. Needs a win here. Needs to score 18 more points than Tina Matsei to take the Crystal Globe 2015, and it's a cracking start for Fenninger. 0.25 up. She is moving nicely on this course. Generating some great angles. The speed coming from every single turn. Fenninger on a charge here. What's the clock say? At the second time check, 0.32. She's built on that advantage. Gets pitched forward slightly. The momentum all going in the correct direction. Setting up nice and high with the line. Giving herself lots of time between each of the gates to make those moves, to get the power on the ski, generate that speed, and it's 0.73 now. The Austrian fans making some noise for Fenninger. No trouble on the tight turny gates towards the bottom. Anna Fenninger crossing the line in top spot by 0.82. Fenninger leads, and with a lot of pressure on her shoulders in the start gate. What a run that was from Fenninger. The Crystal Globe, the overall Crystal Globe on the line. And Fenninger delivers on the first run. Sarah Hector, 22-year-old from Sweden on course. Got her first World Cup win this season. Came in Kutai in Austria. She was second in order on home snow, but half a second off the pace. The first intermediate time check. Fenninger set a blistering pace on this first run. Hector not able to match her. Snow softening up just a little bit here. Hector just not generating the speed out of every turn that Fenninger was. Skis aren't running as cleanly as she'd like as well. Now over a second off the pace. So Sarah Hector wants to stay in touch for the second run. 1:13.26 the time of Fenninger. 1:14.44 for Hector. 1.18 off the pace for the Swedish skier. Now, Tina Matsei. Going into this race, she leads the overall standings by 18 points, but Fenninger already has a sublime first run on the board. Can Matsei get close? She only knows one way to ski, that is all-out attack. And the Slovenian just 0.19 off the pace. Tall, powerful athlete. And this course should really suit Matze. She's working so hard here. Turn to turn through the fog. It just makes things so much more challenging for these skiers. Oh, and just 0.03 of a second off the pace of Fenninger. Matze right in touch here on the first run. What a battle we've got in store. Fenninger split 53-34, whereas Matze, she's hasn't lost any more time. Still 0.03 of a second. Now the Slovenian has to turn on the afterburners. Try and find just a few hundredths towards the bottom of the run. The Slovenian diving now for the line in the tuck position. Tina Matze stops the clock. 1:13.53, just over a quarter of a second off the pace. Losing just a little bit more than Fenninger on the bottom 10 gates or so. Fenninger looked so strong from start to finish. There's the only real mistake in the run from Matze. That's cost her just a few hundredths of a second. Great balance on display. And Fenninger knows she's in pole position so far. Nadia Fanchini from Italy on course, the 28-year-old. Her first career GS podium in the last race on the 13th of March in Åre, Sweden. So Fanchini, she can go on the shorter skis, does tend to favor the Super G and downhill. Maybe the course set like this one, not quite to Fanchini's liking. 0.75 of a second behind at the second time check. And that gap is growing to 1.35, well over a second now. The lateral movement from Fanchini, not quite as dynamic as that of Fenninger. Just riding the skis a little much, not generating the power. And into 6th place, 1:14.92, 1.66 back. So Fanchini way down as that has a chat in the finish. Eva Maria Brem from Austria, 26-year-old from Tyrol. Her first win in this discipline. Earlier this season, she's been very consistent. 3rd in Solden. Took the win in Aspen. 3rd, first time out in Åre. 4th in Kutai. Problems in Méribel, and then on the podium again in Åre. 0.38 off the pace at the first time check. This is the discipline that Brem prefers. It's her favourite one. And she's clawed some of that gap back now, just 0.18. Eva Maria Brem having a great first run here. The fog's getting a little thicker. It's moving down the course slightly, just a little late there. That could cost her. Now Brem 0.27 back. So losing just under 1/10 of a second at this point. Got to keep the focus. Got to keep the strength. Late in the line again, a heavy edge set. And Brem might have lost just a fraction more time. She approaches the line. Eva Maria Brem, 1:13.69, 4.3 off the pace, but into 3rd place. And if she can hang on to 3rd place, that will be a solid first run for the Austrian. So Fenninger still leads. Nina Loseth from Norway, 26-year-old. On the podium this season in slalom. That was in Zagreb earlier in the season. 1.27 back. Top of the course is the slightly easier part, if you ask me. It flows, twists through the trees. It kind of moves its way round to skiers' right onto the final pitches. And Loseth 0.72 back now. pitch forwards there. Skiing on feel in these conditions just takes so much more out of you. Now over a second back, nearly 2 seconds off the pace. Nina Loseth not quite got the legs for today's first run. She keeps the fight up though, standing a little taller than the top skiers from so far from run 1. And Loseth be quite far back here. 8th place, 2.64 seconds, slowest we've had so far. But I think she got some of the worst of the conditions. Jessica Lindell Vickerby, here on course. 3rd of the World Championships this season. 2 wins in her career. Lindell Vickerby, see the fogs just sitting right in the middle of the track here. Through these trees. And then into the fog, 0.42 off the pace. So Lindell Vickerby with more work to do. These turns, this course is relentless from start to finish. Might have just lost her pole for a second. Want to grab it again. This is when your inspection run is so critical. Skiers get a run in the morning looking at the course with the coaches. They'll visualize it, they'll ski the course in their head. And a big slide there, all the speed gone from Lindell Vickerby, and I'm afraid that gap has now grown to over 3 seconds. All the momentum, all the good work ripped away by one big mistake, and it was on the only real flat part of the course. It just makes it so much worse. Lindell Vickerby, she knows she'll have a second run today. 2.93 off the pace, and normally in a regular World Cup she would be expecting a second run with that time gap.
It is a run to forget, and we saw there and seeing it again on the slow-mo, how the snow is reacting and how those skis are being followed all over the place.
From Liechtenstein, Tina Weirreiter. Quarter of a second back, the first time check. Weirreiter fighting through the fog here. There's the time check on Venninger, and she's under a second off the pace. She can keep this to anything within 2 seconds. That would be a pretty respectable run. Now Weirreiter out of the fog, 1.61. Just get that extra bit of belief when you can see where you're going again. The course team here, Méribel, done a fantastic job with all the dye. Cement slalom taking place as well today. This course has had a lot of work done on it over the past few days, and Weirreiter into 8th place, 2.31 off the pace. See the determination, the effort that she's putting into the run. The hill's been salted here as well. Makes it a very tough challenge for these athletes. Frida Hansdotter on course. Swedish skier. Perhaps more of a slalom specialist. 5 podiums in her career, all come in slalom. Best of 11th in GS this season. Good first time check, 0.19 off the pace. And Hansdotter, this the real tricky section due to the weather conditions, and she's lost a lot of time on that mid-section, 0.97 back now. Floodlights are on as well. You do get night skiing on this hill. Makes for an excellent night slalom as well. So Hansdotter, 1.58 back, and you can see she just is a little more tired. Spending a lot of energy on this course. There's a very wide turn. Some more time lost for Hansdotter. The run now coming to a close. Hans Daughter stands up a little over the line, 2.82 off the pace. It's a big mistake towards the bottom of the course, where the real problem was. When it cost her anything up to half a second. So fanning out in the winners, or the leaders enclosure, Manuela Mold from Italy. And what a blistering first split from Mold, 0.29, the right side of the clock. And this might be a little bit of a surprise if she can keep this up. Mold's not been on the podium in Giant Slalom since 2011. Has she kept it up, standing a fraction tall? Oh, and it's all gone. 1.44 back. And we've got a correction on the clock. So the split that we've seen for Moog was wrong, and there she's pitched onto the tails of the skis. So I'm getting all excited, thinking the green light was on, but she was 0.48 back. Now over 2 seconds off the pace. So Moog taking a wide line, so you're not really clattering into the gates as well. Sometimes the line that's forced upon the skiers with the ruts makes that hard to do. 2.33 back into 9th place. See the skis just bouncing around in these snow conditions. Every time that ski is up in the air and slapping on the snow, it just takes the energy away. Marie-Pierre Prefontaine from Canada. Her World Cup best came in Q time, the 28th of December. She was 6th there. So promising signs for Prefontaine. She's really attacking this top section. 0.67 back, but it's attacking, but it's not reflected in the time. Very rounded line she's skiing. All that force going on the ski in one go. And then riding it round, it's not quite the fastest approach. 1.86 back. So Prefontaine has got to try and keep this within 2.5 seconds if she can. More time lost on the bottom section. We'll see. And the time for Prefontaine, 1:15.98, 2.72 back into 11th place. Straight out the finish area. The maple leaf flag flying high, great support for the lone Canadian in the race. Race number 14, Irene Curtoni from Italy. One podium in her career that came in off the Schwang, and we can barely see her on the top section of the course. Over half a second back. And Curtoni, a lot of work to do. Pitched forward, you see the skier almost the shoulders thrown forward, the feet separating slightly. Not a good sign, I'm afraid. 1.21 back. I'll be very surprised if anyone can get ahead of Fenninger at this stage now. The course is set up's going to make it difficult with these conditions. 1.44 back. So Curtoni now with about another 10 seconds of skiing to go, keeping up the effort levels. See the shoulders getting pushed backwards, almost behind her at times, and into 8th place, 2.3. So strong bottom half of the run for Curtoni, and she's in the top 10 for now. Maria Pietley-Holme, 28-year-old from Sweden. Like a lot of the Swedes, she does tend to favour the slalom. 9 podiums in her career, all but one of them coming in slalom. She's having a good stab at this so far. 0.59 off first time check, but a lot more time gone to the midpoint of the run. 1.62 back. It's hardly surprising though. Any of these skiers are a fraction of time trapped on that right foot. It's been a long old season with lots of travel, of course. World Championships thrown in as well. All of these athletes will be having a well-deserved break soon. A few of them will go on and do various national championships, but most of them will be taking a break. And Pietley-Holme into 14th place, 3.41 back.
Elle brille dans les épreuves de vitesse, mais on sait qu'elle a fait de belles choses également en géant. Troisième aux Jeux Olympiques en décembre, troisième des championnats du monde cette année. Toujours en décembre, c'est 12 victoires et 20 podiums pour la championne suisse. Le sourire heureux de voir sur le visage d'Anna Fellinger. Là, elle sait que ça va être tranquille. Il y a quand même Lucien qui est derrière, qui a brillé ici.
So Fellinger currently the leader by 0.27. Bettina Matze, it's between those two. The crystal globe. Eva Maria Brem in third, 0.43. Off the pace, it is all set up nicely for the second run. Not putting away all the Swedish contingent so far on this first run, but we'll turn things around on run 2.
Est-ce que tu étais ravi de finir ta saison de cette manière?
C'est calme. Voilà, il n'y a rien de mieux et maintenant, proposer...
Ready to move on with the next skier. It's the Swiss superstar Lara Gut, 23-year-old. 12 wins in her career. Third in the downhill at the Sochi. 23rd in the downhill at Sochi. 1 win in giant slalom. So Gut can do it in this discipline. Does seem to prefer Super G and downhill. Certainly that's been more of her focus of late. Let's see, Gut looking for speed where she can, but it's not reflected in the clock. 0.87 off the pace. She is 100% attack, and Gut is certainly doing that, but just can't quite find what she needs on this first run. 1.23 back. She's a strong athlete, deals with that turn a little better than some. That might help her towards the bottom. Now, chance to keep this within 2 seconds. A lot of support here in the finish area as well. Lara Gut a little rounded on these bottom few gates. Now just tries to step back on the gas pedal into the tuck position. Lara Gut into 11th, 2.6. So 2.6 off the pace, Lara Gut. Not happy with the run. Next to the Austrians, Elisabeth Görgel. Bronze medalist in giant slalom. And downhill at the 2010 Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver. World champion as well from 2011. Actually had 2 wins in Giant Slalom, coming way back in 2008. And Gurgel now nearly a second and a half off the pace. So the Austrian has to find something magical, but that's a good line to be on these bottom turns. 1.97. He's holding that right arm quite high in a few of the turns as well. She's taking a tighter, more direct line than quite a few of the skiers in this bottom section. And Gurgel, hope that's reflected in the time, and she's into 11th, 2.49. There's Lindsey Vonn visualising the course. Not too long till we'll see her. Tessa Worley is going to get a lot of support. The only French woman in the field today. A 5-year-old from the Grand Bornard, the world champion GS in 2013. 8 World Cup wins, all coming in this discipline. 19th in the standings, no podiums this year for Tessa Worley. And despite the vocal support from the French fans, Worley struggling a little bit. We've seen a couple of big errors in the run. Well, a fantastic atmosphere in the finish. And everyone giving Tessa Worley a big, big cheer, but it's not quite to be on the first round. Well, 8th place, 2.21 back, but 8th place is pretty handy from bib 18.
Eva Maria Brem, peut-être qui nous fait une très belle deuxième manche, peut venir s'immiscer dans cette bagarre au plus haut niveau.
Michaela Kirkgasser, 30 years old now, on course. 3 World Cup wins in her career. 1.48 back at the midway split. Hopefully that coach keeps out the way. They know what they're doing here. So Kirkgasser, 2.52 back. It's been a run that she'll be quite keen to forget, I think. And Kirkgasser has to just ride this one through to the finish. 1:13.26 the time of Fenninger. Kirkgasser's going to be way back here and into 17, 3.24 time gap. It'll be an early start number for Kirkgasser on run number 2. Dominic is in, 29-year-old from Engelberg. And Swiss skier shared that gold medal Sochi 2014 in the downhill with Tina Matze. 23rd in the standings this season, the Giant Slalom at just 0.97 back. So promising run here for Gesine of Switzerland. Avoid any major mistakes. That was clean. That's where it's got a little tricky for some. Just later in the line that you want to be here. 1.44, so very strong run being put together by Dominic Gesine. See what the clock says as she approaches the line. Gesine from bib 20 dives for the line and into 9th place, 2.26 back. So in the top 10. 19-year-old Marta Bassino 2014 World Junior Champion. Best of 11th in Giant Slalom this season. And very close on the top time check, just over a tenth of a second. 9.28 back, and Bassino from bib 21 might be about to mix things up at the top end of the race. Still a long way to go on this run though, and Bassino fighting hard. 0.34, this is very impressive from the young Italian. I wasn't sure we were going to see anyone get too close to Fenninger's time, but Bassino is about to surprise all of us here in the finish area. Bassino into 4th place, 0.7. And she rightly takes the applause. Spectacular run from Bassino. That's really brought the crowd to life ahead of the second run. Great position on the skis, so well balanced. Coaches are happy here. 29-year-old Eva Maria Brem from Slovenia, best of 11th this season in order. Well, we know that the good times are still there on this course. Bassino's proven that. Dreb hopefully take a bit of confidence from that, but there she's pitched back. Skiing a little late, and that's going to cost her some time. 1.81 back. A nice angle. One of those red gates, but Dreb with a few mistakes. It's not the super clean run, but goes into 15th place. 2.6 back. Cracked on the inside, that left arm on the snow. So Bastia on run number 1. Oh, what a skier it is. Lindsey Vonn, 30-year-old from Veith, based in Vail, Colorado. 8 wins in downhill and Super G this season. That's where the focus really lies for Vonn these days. Had her injury trouble, of course. One of the best there's ever been in the sport, tackling this hill and making a great stab of it so far. 0.58, the second time check. Now just 8.1 off the pace. And Lindsey Vonn, time of Bassino. And that will have given her the confidence to really go out and attack, to dictate this course. Tell it who's boss, and Lindsey Vonn is doing that. She's going to be in a great position for the second run. Vonn crosses the line in 6th, just under a second off the pace, and Lindsey Vonn, who's not been skiing a lot of GS this season, could still do the business on the slightly shorter skis. What a fierce, what a tough competitor she is. Always up for the challenge. So run 1 comes to a close. It's Anna Fenninger in prime position to take the crystal globe, but she's got just 0.27 of an advantage over Tina Matze. Of course, it could all change around on the second run. We've got 23 women going in reverse order on run number 2. Giant Slalom, this globe is all pretty much wrapped up. Fenninger came into this race with a 86-point advantage over Brem. Just 18 points between Matze and Fenninger. All coming down to the last run of the season right here in Méribel. Well, a fantastic crowd here in Méribel for the World Cup finals. They put on a tremendous show. Fans from all over Europe, all over the world in attendance. Everyone's getting a good cheer. Multicultural ski resort. Sport resort is Méribel. Travel here, do seasons, and come here to work from all over the world. There's Lara Gut taking on some energy. Swiss superstar, ready to go for the second run. And no one will be able to take their eyes off this race. Everything coming down to it. So much at stake. A whole season of action coming down to the final run. Could not have scripted it any better. And between two of the absolute greats of ski racing, Anna Fenninger and Tina Madsen. So Lindell Vickerby will be up first for Sweden. 3.93 back. Lara Gut could be someone to watch on this second run. She might want to pull something out of the bag. And Marta Vecino, very impressive on run number one. Just 0.7 off the pace. In fourth place, but there's the top three. Fenninger, Madsen, Brem. The great and the good of the ski racing world are here, enjoying the tremendous atmosphere in the finish. There's a men's slalom taking place as well. Good to have the two races on today as well. I think that just makes it even more exciting for all the fans. It doesn't get better than this, does it? One net run to go on the World Cup Tour. Lindell Vickerby will kick things off, followed by her teammate Maria Pietli-Holmner. Wants some way back off the pace though. Someone's brought the coffee to the top. It's like, Dale, you need a coffee on the hill. And in the commentary box. Plenty places to eat and drink around this resort, that's for sure. Can be Méribel, can be a lot of fun. You know it, you know it. So run number two is underway. The final run of the 2014-15 season. The fog's moved a little up the hill as well. Thankfully, visibility still okay. That thicker bank remains the mid part of the course. It's maybe not quite as thick on the full as it was on the first run, but it's just lingering around. Not the ideal conditions for ski racing, but it's what these world-class athletes are used to skiing in. They train in all conditions. Many of them now will be taking a break, just 4 or 5 weeks, and then be on to ski testing and back on the glaciers of Europe. Some of them will head to the Southern Hemisphere, maybe Argentina, Chile, Australia, New Zealand for some training ahead of next season. So Lindell Vickerby, first skier on course on run number 2. She's going to set the benchmark time for the rest of the field. Pretty similar set, just a little more on skiers' right. 32.58. As the sun is breaking out in the finish area, it will lift the mood and just raise the atmosphere a notch as well. Very different to the top of the course. Pietley Holmner has just over half a second advantage. And it's in the start gate over her Swedish teammate. Almost close to a Super G set on the top section, which this hill hosted the skiing at the 1992 Winter Olympic Games, which were held just down the valley in Albertville. And Pietley Holmner building on that advantage from run 1.84. And the Swede skiing nicely on this second run. The snow's cut up a little more. They've swept away, been raking away on the snow. It's been salted as well. So you can feel a little sugary hard in places. Then a sugary snow spring ski racing. And Pietley Holmner now approaching the line. She's going to go into top spot and does it by over a second and a half. So solid second run from Pietley Holmner. She'll be hoping that can maybe move her into the top 20. Strong on that right foot, well balanced. Hip nicely inside the turn. Great skiing from the Swede. Mickey Kirkgasser on course had just 0.17 over advantage in the start gate. And she's built on that, added a tenth of a second to it. Kirkgasser skiing a good line here. Releasing well from it, the turns. Moving into the new turn well, just a little wide there. And that time's gone, 0.17. You can hear the snow where it gets a little soft and it's not quite slush, but in places it is very, very soft, very sugary. 0.37, the deficit grows by another 0.2 of a second for Kirkgasser. We're in the sunshine here, and that is going to really soften up the bottom half of the course. Could make it more challenging for the faster skiers from the first run. And Kirkgasser into second place, 0.64.
Le meilleur temps pour Maria Brem en 2.31.02. Quelle deuxième manche de la Suédoise.
Frida Hansdotter on course. 20th after the first run. Over half a second advantage over Pietley Holmner. She's built on that. Really letting those skis run nicely on the top section. Carrying the speed from turn to turn. Now the turns come at you just a fraction quicker. Of course, tightens up. Moving across the hill. .83, the green light remains on. Hansdotter. Oh, just trapped on the left foot, the inside ski. That's the only real mistake, but it's not cost her. Now a full second of an advantage, so it's got better and better as this run's gone on for Hansdotter. And the Swede skiing very nicely on the bottom section. Tacks the final gate, crosses the line into top spot. 2.3003, just under full second of an advantage. So into top spot for Hansdotter. And again, she'll be hoping She can see off a few skiers, move up the standings a little bit. Marie-Pierre Prefontaine, Canadian skier, just a 10th of a second to play with in the start gate, and she's lost just 400s, so not a lot. It's going wrong on the top section. She was in a little bit of trouble there to make a big recovery. I think that clock there, the light will be turning from green to red. It does. Now she's 900s, the wrong side of the clock, so pressure on for Prefontaine. Has to find something on this bottom section of the course. She approaches the sunlight. What's left of the sunlight. Left us again. 0.22 off the pace, and a couple of turns not as clean as she would like. Prefontaine working across the hill. And the Canadian through the final turn stops the clock and goes into second place. 0.64 back. Losing it on the bottom half of the course.
Slow motion here, focus, look at those eyes, just looking for the next gate, bringing the weight towards the front.
Nina Loseth from Norway. 1800ths of a second. Her advantage is it's got very gloomy at the top of the course. Conditions getting worse. The starter will be making sure everyone is ready to go. Don't want to be waiting too much longer. We might struggle with this race. And Loseth's lost all of that advantage now. 0.38 back. This slightly steeper section. Move across to the left of the hill. Snaking around on this rock de fer piste. Tough test for all the athletes. And the gap grows. 0.66. Nina Loseth. Skis just breaking away on a couple of turns, particularly the right foot. So Loseth challenging the time of 2 minutes 30.03, 231.42, 1.39 off the pace. Goes into fourth spot. Getting bounced around. There's a slight cross rut there from the first run. Just another additional challenge for the skiers. Lara Gut, 16th after the first run, in a tie with Anna Drev. She's lost her advantage out of the start gate. Did have 2200s to play with. Oh, and Gut's pitched sideways here, but makes a great recovery. But I'm afraid some more time will have gone. And it has. 0.72 back now. So, not going to be Lara Gut's day today. Keep this challenge going though. Keep working from top to bottom. And for a skier that skis and races as much as she does in as many disciplines, at this point of the season, you really are feeling it. On the train, on Giant Slalom, the Super G, the downhill skis. And Lara Gut now with one gate to go. Crosses the line, 231.24 into fourth place. And a Drev on course. Hansdotter, the current leader. Drev 16th after the first run. 2200s to play with. Skiing through the worst of the fog we've seen. So can Drev get close to Hansdotter's time? She's 0.2 of a second off the pace now.
Yeah, the fog just not the friend of the skiers here today.
So Drev struggling on the top section in the fog. And we've seen a couple of skiers get pitched forward. Lost a couple of 3 gates back there. 0.22, but she's not lost much more time. And now Drev can really step on the gas pedal. Find something out of the skis on the bottom section. She's certainly going full gas here. 0.31. So really just the top section in the fog that has cost her. The second, third splits have been very strong indeed. And Drev looking nice and smooth on the bottom section. Can she get close to Hansdotter? 2:30.76 into third place. Loses a bit more on the bottom section. 0.73 the deficit in the end. Bounced in the air. This, as I was saying, those cross ruts from earlier in the day. Elizabeth Gurgle 15th after the first run. She had 0.33 of an advantage over Hansdotter, who's moved up the standings. Very strong second run from Frida Hansdotter. And the Austrian still has the green light on, but just 0.04 of a second. Hansdotter, the leader, watching on as these skiers get a little closer to her first run time. Her combined time, I should say. Beg your pardon. So Gorgel. Now the light is red, 0.44. And the Austrian losing more time here. So Gorgel getting bounced around in these tough conditions. That's the way it can be at this time of the season. The snow conditions not always perfect for racing. The weather can be a little fickle as well. So Elizabeth Gorgel approaching the line, stops the clock with a time of 2 minutes 30.95 into fourth place. Just under a second back. Everyone's struggling with this one. What's that right foot? As we see some of the faster skiers, we'll see how they deal with it. Like Tina Matze warming up there. And that lower back loose and nimble. And Wella Moog has nearly a half a second advantage over Hansdotter. Hansdotter might be about to move into the top 15. And Moog still 1800ths of a second up. So what does the clock say? Oh, it's 100th of a second. The wrong side for Moog. And it's going to be very tough to make that deficit back up, to get that light to turn green again on the bottom section of the course. 2/10 back now. Still just about in touch. And Hansdotter, I think, is going to move into the top 15. I think if you'd offered her that at the start of the second run, she'd certainly have taken it. Moog in the tuck and crosses the line in second place. 2 minutes 30.64, 0.61 back. That's where it gets very tricky. Throwing onto the tails of the skis, you lose that purchase, that grip, the right ski. We move on to Tina Bayreuther. Just over half a second, her advantage. Surely as these time gaps get bigger in the start gate, someone is going to knock Hansdotter off top spot in the next few skiers. Bayreuther's lost a bit of time, but she's still the correct side of the clock, or the right side of the clock, 0.27. Now Bayreuther standing a little tall in places for me, 0.29 off the pace. Skis are action sideways. That was a strong turn from Bayreuther. Good purchase on those edges. And the skier from Liechtenstein can see the finish line now. Just about 9 seconds of skiing to go. And the season will come to a close from her little mistake before the finish line as well. Veith into 7th place, 2:31.08, over a second off the pace. So going wrong on the bottom half of the course for Veith. Irene Cottoni, 12th after the first run. As we start getting towards the big names in this race. Still got a quarter of a second advantage. Tony, very loose style, really fighting the mountain. Coming up to the second time check. What does the clock say? She's lost that advantage. 900ths of a second. Hansdotter. Now she'll start to think maybe be about a top 10 here. What a second run charge that would have been for the Swede. Cottoni getting twisted with the upper body. More time lost, 0.41. And the Italian on a more rounded line. Skiing very two-footed at the bottom. Skis sideways again, and Irene Cottoni, it's been a bit of a battle for the Italian, goes into 4th place, 0.71. So Hansdotter still in top spot here in the Méribel at the World Cup finals. Just got to ride that bump out. Dominic is in 11th after the first run. 0.56, her advantage, half a second normally. That's pretty healthy in ski racing, but since Hansdotter, nobody's been able to keep that green light from top to bottom, and Gizin, another skier, not able to challenge Hansdotter, but still a long way to go on this run for Gizin. Tactics are good, standing a little tall, giving herself room to move. 0.24, quarter of a second. The gap's growing, but not by much. She's going to get off that right foot onto the left. Gizin working very hard here. It's still a quarter of a second. So Gizin very much in touch. And the Swiss skier just a bit wide there. That might cost her. Got to keep that speed up, that momentum going, and it's going to be very close for Gizin. She crosses the line in second. Well, 0.49 off the pace of Hansdotter. Losing it just on the bottom 10 gates there. So Hansdotter, 10 skiers still to watch. She was 20th after the first run. Of course, Tessa Worley, she's going to get a lot of support from the French fans, of course. Healthy margin at the first time check, 0.48. And she's built on that advantage, 0.54. This, the first skier we've seen really go for it on this second run and build a big advantage coming into the bottom half of the course. A couple of small errors have crept into the run, and a lot of that time is gone. Now just 1900ths of a second, 0.19. But Worley on a charge here. Can she hang on and push Hansdotter down to second? Tessa Worley of France approaching the line and into top spot by 0.36. Fantastic second run from Worley, sending the French fans into raptures. What a reception she gets in the finish area. Hansdotter drops down to second, but it was a good second run. It's moved her right up the standings into the top 10. Nadia Fanchini, 0.55 her advantage, and she's built on it. 9.66, so the Italian. Another skier on a second run charge. Can she keep it up? Worley was spectacular on the bottom section of the course, but Fanchini still 0.61. And that's the sort of margin you want to take into the last 15, 20 gates. Fanchini builds it even more, now nearly a full second. Fanchini absolutely flying on this second run. Skiing a good line, looking strong, looking dynamic, looking aggressive. Fanchini now approaching the line, and Worley stay on top spot. It's going to be a short one. Fanchini into the lead by over a full second. And she looks beat after that. Not surprised. What an effort from Fanchini. That's set a tough challenge for the skiers still to come. Next up will be the superstar American Mikaela Shiffrin, the 20-year-old from Veith. Tina Matze there in the start, Fenninger watching on, Brem's there. The top three from the first run, but as things stand at the moment, Fanchini, the new leader, by over a second. Tessa Worley in second. Hansdotter held the lead for a lot of this second run, now down in third place. As we've just got 8 skiers to go on this second run. So let's look back at Fanchini, the current leader. Not fighting the hill there, just letting the skis do what they need to do to pass that rut. You can see sugary snow that's been salted, it's warmed up throughout the day. Huge crowd here. But a fantastic race is building, and we're getting into the business end of the final World Cup of the season. Mikaela Shiffrin on course, 0.44 her advantage over the Italian leader Fanchini. Shiffrin getting stronger and stronger in Giant Slalom. She's lost a lot of that time, 0.18. Still the right side of the clock, but a long way to go for Shiffrin on the second run. She can't afford any more mistakes. And the American settles nicely into the run, 0.14, but she's not lost too much. This is where Shiffrin is so good. She has to be precise. She can ski a more direct line than almost anyone else on the tour, and that's obviously a huge strength, but the time is slipping away slowly. 0.05 of a second, all Shiffrin has left in the bank as she's approaching the final few turns. Mikaela Shiffrin from the USA makes a charge for the line. Can she go into top spot? Shiffrin, into second, 0.15. Couldn't keep that green light on, couldn't hold on to the advantage, and the American superstar has to make do for with second for now. 7 to go. Getting more and more excited as this race goes on. It's going right down to the last skier on the last run of the season. Sarah Hector of Sweden on course now. 0.48 her advantage. The 22-year-old. Second in order, got her first win this season as well. Just under a quarter of a second, her advantage. This is nice skiing from Sarah Hector, and she's built on that advantage. Now 0.42. That turn for the next pitch. A little late, but it's still going to plan for Hector. She's on the inside, but we'll see what the next time check says. Some of that gap might have gone. 0.24. She's got a quarter of a second to play with on the bottom section of the course here. Skiing what a wide line, avoiding some of the ruts and bumps. Sarah Hector of Sweden looks to knock Fankini off top spot, and she's done it by 0.15. Hector into first place. With 6 to go, the Swedes in the crowd celebrate. It's all smiles from Sarah Hector. Great second run from the Swede. Now Lindsey Vonn. She's been there and done it all in ski racing. What an athlete, what a superstar she is. We are lucky to have her in the sport. Lindsey Vonn, really happy after that first run. Skied into 6th place, and now she's got a bit between her teeth to move up the standings. She's built on her advantage. A great platform with the feet, moving nicely from turn to turn. It's just 0.02 of a second now, though. Now Lindsey Vonn approaching the third time check. Some smooth turns, some small errors, but it's still 0.04 of a second for Lindsey Vonn. So it's still on. What can Vonn do over these final few turns? The American on a charge here. Turns on the afterburners. Can she depose Hector from top spot? Vonn, into second place. By 0.08 of a second. Yes, 0.08 of a second. For someone that isn't skiing a lot of giant slalom these days, focusing on the downhill and the Super G, this has been a very special performance from Vonn. Into the top 5. Brignoni, 5th after the first run. She's kicked things off on run number 1, had the cleanest of the courses, but she's got some of the worst of the weather here. And Brignoni, and she's down and out. Oh, that is a real shame for Brignoni. Before the run, that really got going as well. She's going to be bitterly disappointed there. So there'll just be some small repairs to the course where Brignoni is taken out the gate. Smiles from Lindsey Vonn. Sarah Hector in top spot. 4 skiers to go. And everyone watching on nervously. I'm getting nervous here in the commentary box. Don't know what's going to happen. It's just too close to call. The overall crystal globe on the line. And what a first run Marta Bassino had. From bib 21 into 4th place. It's 19 years old, the 2014 World Junior Champion in Giant Slalom. Has 0.48 of an advantage over Sarah Hector. She skis like she did on the first run. We're in for a treat now, half a second. So the green light is well and truly on. Bassino floating nicely from turn to turn. There was the first mistake. There's the second mistake. The time might have gone. Has to put a big correction into the line. It has gone. 0.26. the wrong side of the clock. And the concentration might just have gone for Bassino here. Sitting a little on the tails of the skis now, standing tall. Wide stance and 0.74 off the pace. What could have been a possible charge for a podium. As there's another mistake in the run, is now just about trying to hang on for the top 10 for Bassino. But so many positives to take from today for Bassino. She moves into 7th place, 1.63 off the pace, but I think she knew to do that after the 2 mistakes in succession. Here was a big mistake. Had to really crank those skis round on the inside. Brakes go on, and all of the time, all of the good work from the first run disappears in one go. We're into the top 3. Eva Maria Brem, 3/4 of a second her advantage. The giant slalom specialist has built on that advantage. Such a strong, powerful approach to GS skiing. Generates a lot of force through the ski, and Brem with over a second advantage. This is sending a message back to the start gate saying, you might be focused on the overall, but I want the win today. And Brem is on a flyer here. Lovely turns on the bottom section of the course. The advantage still over a second for Brem. And the Austrian, now with just a few gates to go, making the lives of Tina Matze and Anna Fenninger a little bit tougher in the start gate. Eva Maria Brem absolutely flying on the second run into top spot by over a second. That was the quickest second run as well. Lightning from Brem. What a performance. Well, she's guaranteed another podium finish. It'll be her 5th of the season now, Tina Matze. 1600's all she has to play with of an advantage over Brem. She needs to go into top spot here. Hope that Fenninger has a pretty terrible run. But Matze's built on that advantage. Just 18 points ahead of Fenninger. So she really needs the win here. Well, she could cement it with the win. Tina Matze, 700ths of a second. Time slipping away. What can Matze do on the bottom half? All-out attack from the Slovenian. She's done it all. She's won it all. And she is building on the advantage. 0.22. Sending a message back to the start gate. Tina Matze absolutely flying. Just a few gates to go in the 2015 season for Matze. Can she go into top spot? Matze of Slovenia tucks for the line. Oh, and into second place. Oh, by 800ths of a second. Well, that has opened the door for Fenninger. The last racer of the season on course, 0.43 her advantage. She knows now a win will do it. Fenninger now settles into the run. She's been behind Matze for most of the season in the overall, but she's won the last 2 GSs of the season in Maribor and in Oran. She's built a big advantage. It's brought her right into contention for the overall. It's the sun shining here in Méribel at World Cup finals. Might the sun be shining on Anna Fenninger in just a few moments' time? The Austrian loses a bit of time, 0.33. It's getting very tense in the finish area. Fenninger, deals with that beautifully. It's bumpy, it's rutted, it's tough out there, but Fenninger builds on the advantage again. A demonstration of giant slalom skiing here under the utmost of pressure. Anna Fenninger of Austria, she was the overall champion last season. She is approaching the line. Fenninger, oh, she takes it by 0.38. And she is absolutely done. What skiing from Anna Fenninger. She takes the win here in Méribel in the last GS of the season. She'll take the Crystal Globe for Giant Slalom, but she'll take the Crystal Globe, the overall Crystal Globe. Brem congratulates her. Fenninger was 18 points behind coming in. Matse's finished in third. She'll pick up 60 points, 100 for Fenninger for the win. I think Brem did her a favour there. And there's Lara Good in. Well, what a race. How lucky are we in this sport to have such superstars like this. Everything on the line. Amazing skiing here in Méribel. And we'll all catch their breath. The Austrian team celebrate. Fenninger can't quite believe it. Defends the Crystal Globe from last season. And Nessendorma, quite appropriate, I think. There's Matse. Of course she's going to be disappointed. What a fight she's put up all season. We have to now just catch her breath. The awards ceremonies will be coming up a little bit later. In the end, Matse just 0.46 off the pace of Fenninger.
Ladies and gentlemen, the unofficial top 3 for the Women's GS FIS World Cup in Méribel. Third position. Second place, representing Austria, Eva Maria Brem. And first position, winner of the GS, representing Austria, Anna Fenninger.
Well, it's all smiles now for Fenninger. She can relax. The season's over, and what a season it's been. Max is so disappointed. It was within her grasp. It was within her control. Let's look at the final standings here in Méribel. Fenninger, of course, with the win. Brem in second. Fantastic season for the Austrian. Matse in third. Sarah Hector actually in fourth. And Hansdottir moved up into ninth place. Very special second run, which she'll give her to be pretty proud of in the final race of the season. Brignoni, the only skier not to finish on the second run. Well, the gates will be cleared away. And the athletes will catch their breath and prepare for the awards ceremonies. A little bit later on, there's going to be a quick photo opportunity for Anna Fenninger with the Crystal Globe, and then the formal ceremonies will take place a little later. Shall be on here. President of the French Ski Federation, Gianfranco Casper, the president of the FIS, here as well. This gives everyone, the photographers, the media, a chance to grab a quick snap of Fenninger with that Crystal Globe in the finish area. A lot of the fans are going to stick around as well and just enjoy the atmosphere. There is Fenninger, there's the globe. One of the most beautiful trophies in sport, if you ask me.
Mesdames et messieurs, vainqueur du classement général
So Fenninger will make her way back into the finish area and just show the fans that globe. Giant Slalom champion for 2014-15. 4 wins this season in the end for Fenninger. Second place in there as well. Winning the last 3 races on the Giant Slalom Tour, and that's what's brought her that overall globe as well. Finding form at the right part of the season. So the music will keep blaring, the fans will stick around, there'll be a party atmosphere as the World Cup season comes to a conclusion here in Méribel. Nice resort for it to finish up in as well. Great for the fans, plenty of accommodation, wonderful skiing and snowboarding in this part of the world. Hopefully we'll hear from Fenninger in just a few moments' time.
Anna, congratulations. You left us speechless after such an amazing second run. What went through your mind when you saw the green light after crossing?
Well, it's hard to describe because there was so much pressure for so many days, so many weeks, and this was what I worked for so many years, and I was so nervous before the run, and when I came to the finish and I saw the green light, it was incredible, unbelievable, and I'm so thankful to can live my dream.
The nerves at the start, that was the first time you experienced something like that, right?
No, it was not the first time. I was a bit nervous, but it was okay. But at the second, it was very tough. Yeah.
Did you know about Tina's results, or did you know anything?
No, I was just focused for my skiing. I knew that Tina wants to have also the big globe, and she will risk so much, so I had to do my best, and it's unbelievable.
You did. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Thanks, Anna.
Well, fantastic to hear from Anna Fenninger. We'll get a look now at the Giant Slalom standings after the 7 GSs this season. In the end, it was pretty comfortable from Fenninger, over 100 points, the difference. Marta Bassino down in 20th, the youngster. Of course, for a good result today, but mistakes on the second run. Certainly a name to watch out for as this season progresses. As season's not progressing anymore, but as her career progresses and we move into next season. It's a pretty gloomy day here. I think a few people will not be up enjoying the mountains, enjoying the other parts of Méribel. Fenninger winning the overall by 22 points. Fenninger and Matze well clear of Vaughan. Fenninger skiing Giant Slalom, Super G and downhill. Finished second in the downhill standings, second in the Super G standings as well. Behind Lindsey Vaughan, who won both of those Crystal Globes. So third in the standings for this season, Michaela Schifrin. She won the opening round of the Tour in Solden. Just one other podium. Came in Kutai. Brem in second, 1 win. Second place, 3 third place results. Great season for Eva Maria Brem and Anna Fenninger. 4 wins in Giant Slalom this season to bring her that Crystal Globe. Second in Kutai. Tied in top spot in Solden with Michaela Schifrin. The opening round way back on the 25th of October on the Rettenbach Glacier. Well, the gates are all cleared and many of the volunteers and Workers from the Club de Sport here in Méribel do such a fantastic job of delivering races. Will make their way into the finish area with the fans to enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the celebrations that will go on.
That gave amazing coverage on the web, on TV, on the radio, in the newspapers. It was absolutely stunning. And what to say about our partners? Que dire de nos partenaires, les gens qui ont rendu possible cet événement ici à Méribel? Fantastique. Alors nous en sommes à...
So now we await the prize giving ceremony coming up, and that will be for the men's slalom as well. And we'll hand out the men's overall globe, and I believe the Nations Cup globe as well. That's the look inside the VIP tent as we get ready for the podium celebrations. Many people sticking around in Méribel in the sunshine. Enjoy the podium celebrations then. Do stick around. Myself being Finley, I'm going to wrap up the coverage there. It was an unbelievable race. Anna Fenninger and Tina Matzek battling right down to the wire for the 2014-15 season. Fenninger winning the race, and with it, the overall crystal globe. Myself being Finley, please stick around if you want to watch the prize giving ceremony.
Honoring the winners of the ladies 2014-2015 Audi FIS Ski World Cup.
Nous sommes heureux de vous présenter à la 3e place des États-Unis d'Amérique.
We are pleased to present, and in 3rd place from the United States of America, Lindsay Veith.
À la 2e place de la Slovénie.
In 2nd place from Slovenia, Tina Matzek.
À la 1e place de l'Autriche.
In 1st place, an overall winner from Österreich, Austria, Eva Maria
Mesdames et messieurs, les médailles et le globe de cristal sont remis aujourd'hui par Monsieur Gianfranco Casper, le président de la FIS.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medals and the crystal globe will be presented by the FIS president, Gianfranco Casper.
Ah, quelle bagarre, elle le mérite vraiment, on applaudit très très fort à la Fenninger, s'il vous plaît.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a well-deserved crystal globe won on the last race of the season, Eva Maria Brem.
Et maintenant, en l'honneur de la gagnante de la saison 2014-2015 de la Coupe du Monde de ski au FIS, l'hymne national de l'Autriche.
And now, in honor of the winner of the ladies 2014-2015 Audi FIS Ski World Cup, let's hear the national anthem of Austria.
Allez-y, allez-y. Quel dénouement de saison entre Tina Mazen, Fellinger, la grande championne Lindsay Vonn avec son record de victoire. S'il vous plaît, Méribel, allez, applaudissements pour les filles, allez!
Yes, please everybody give it up. What a wonderful end to the season. And what to say about Lindsay Vonn's record number of wins this year. On a eu droit à tout un spectacle cette année de showdown. We were cherished to have such a great season by these women. Give it up, Méribel!